Hello everyone. Okay, you probably can't even see me that well because look at that. Look at all that reflection. Oh man, this makes me look like an angel. Anyway, it is 6:56 in the morning and I am just completing a crazy long night of Ubering, and you know, I figure I want to talk about it because that's what you got to do. Oh, here we go. Whoa, holy Pete, do you see that? When my hand goes, that is so weird. Oh my gosh, I'm going into the light. I'm going out of the light. Oh, that's trippy. I promise you I'm not high. Okay, so, yeah, I started driving for Uber about 9 o'clock last night. And I drove until about midnight, and I took a short break. Then I went until about 3 a.m. and got some Jack in the Box because I was hungry. And then I went until about 6 a.m. And that's when I got this lovely coffee, which I've just about finished up. So you can say that I like to have fuel while I'm traveling and doing my Ubering. I only did 20 rides, which doesn't feel as successful as it could be, but 20 rides is still 20 rides. So yeah, there weren't too many crazy passengers, but I have to tell you about this one. And you know, this is it's not my fault at all, but you know, I should feel like these are the kind of passengers and customers that I'm gonna get at this time of day. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was in, I don't know, Mountain View or Menlo Park or Sunnyvale or someplace in the peninsula, and I pick up these two people, and they spoke Spanish and English, but mostly just Spanish to them, like, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, and I was like, okay, so what was this? And it was like Monte Carlo. Apparently it's like this Hispanic club or something, so that's where they were. Cool stuff. So the ride was going to be a smooth one, I figured. It was like 19 miles, I think, because they had to go all the way to San Jose, until the female passenger started to say, do you have any bags? I'm like, bags for what? For throw up. I'm like, ew, no. I never even thought about like thinking of a barf bag in the back of my car. I mean, I guess that makes sense, you know, because I do pick up people at the late times of days. So, and I'm like, no. And she's like, I'm gonna barf. I'm gonna throw up. And I'm like, okay. So we pull over to the side of the freeway, for crying out loud. She does that, gets back in the car. The guy that she's with, I don't even think they knew each other until tonight, because I just kind of got that vibe. And so then we get back in the car, smooth sailing for about 5 miles. I think I'm going to throw up again. And I'm like, oh no, this is so not good. I'm just like, please don't do it in the car. And so we pull over to the side of the road again. And it's an even longer time this time. And I'm like, oh God, this is so barf. Barfay. No one will get that. That's a spelling bee joke. Inside joke. And so finally, we almost get to her destination, and she's going to do it again. Thankfully, even though my Uber didn't tell me to turn, and she's like, oh no, you missed my turn. I'm like, no, I didn't. You didn't tell me to turn. So we went around the corner, finally let her off, and she tells the guy, you better give him a big tip. Give him a big tip. Make sure you give him a big tip. Because it was on his actual app, in his account. And so I was like, okay, I still don't think I've received that tip. And it is 5 hours later. They probably just fell asleep. You know, basically, I don't know. But that was some shady business going on. Then I had some cool passengers. You know, I had one passenger who tells me he's a student at University of Michigan, studying business and finance, and is interested in music and all that stuff too. You know, unfortunately, why couldn't those ones be the rides that were the long rides, not the barf-inducing women from the Hispanic Monte Carlo Club? You know? So, had a couple pools. You know, the pool of the Uber is where Uber likes to take people and bring them together so that they get to know each other in the car. And it's usually pretty awkward. And, no, I'm just kidding. It's just, you know, Uber pool is Uber pool. You know, what do you expect? Oh, this is so trippy. It's like a psychedelic feeling. Whoa. Anyway, all in all, pretty good night for Uber, you know. I think I did pretty well, and actually, I want to tell you about my last trip. Thankfully, it was not a Uber Pool situation or Uber Pool Express or anything, because this gentleman had 4 large bags to transport. He was going from Atherton, which is like the richest place in California. Well, okay, richest place in Northern California. The houses, on average, are $7 million a piece. Crazy! Picked him up from his house in Atherton, And he said he's going to India. I'm like, okay, cool. So 4 huge bags. We fit them all in the back seat, thankfully, because this trunk does not exist in this car. It's basically a shelf, and it's a shelf of my sheet music for my various piano gigs, and some workout clothes, and some, cleaning supplies, and, air fresheners and stuff like that. Indian traveler, very nice gentleman. We had a great conversation from Atherton to SFO. This was like 4 in the morning. No, maybe 4:30, because I think he got there at 5. He said his flight was at 7. But he was flying domestically because he was going to JFK first in New York City, and then he said he was going to Mumbai. He said, we all know that it's like 6-ish hours to New York, which actually doesn't feel like a lot, because then he said it was 14 hours to Mumbai from New York City. So it's like, holy Pete, all good stuff. I'm gonna keep Ubering this weekend because I'm trying to go for a big bonus, and I just don't know if I'm gonna get it with only 20 rides done, because I have to do 90 rides and then I'll get the bonus. I really wanted to try and hit 30 rides today, but I just didn't. I honestly started too late. I should have started at 5 p.m. when I was originally going to do that, after lunch, or dinner per se, but I didn't. And now we have this beautiful sunrise, which I can't actually see the sun, but I see some clouds because it rained last night. And I'm not like all wired up. It's probably because of the coffee. So maybe I'll go home and watch it on YouTube for a little bit. I'm supposed to have coffee with a friend, or not coffee, breakfast with a friend in a little bit, in 3 hours actually. Maybe I'll postpone that for a few hours. I don't know. There's a YouTuber named Pano Tsaklas, and I'll link him in the description. He's quite an interesting guy, but he did something for 3 episodes called The Uber Diaries. And I don't think my stories are as interesting as his, but basically, let's say for Uber, I have just completed 1,300 rides as of today. Woo! So that is, my big call to fame. I've been driving for actually a year and 3 months. So it seems like, on average, even though this doesn't really work out mathematically, I do about 100 rides a month, which means I only do 25 a week, which is pretty small. I really drive for it pretty part-time, and there was definitely stretches of time, at least twice, where I didn't do it for 6 weeks at a time. So, it's not like my music gigs where I do them every single week without fail. But I really like to do Uber and supplement my income every single week, because it's just something that's different than the piano playing, different than accompaniment, and it's something that I can, get to know new people and take my mind off of the stresses of the world. But of course, it puts a lot of miles in my car, and I just filled up on gas right before this Ubering trip, and I'm at like just below the halfway point for my gas meter, but it's not a horrible thing. So that's about it for this one. I'm gonna see if I'm gonna post this. I want to keep making more videos, as I always say, and I will continue to try and make more interesting and diverse content. So please like, comment, and subscribe, because that is always what helps me out most. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.